Well, hello again. As the video title says, we have to do a few upgrades or a few updates and upgrades to a couple of projects that I've already finished, or I thought was finished. Namely, the cabinet for the Hammerlin HQ100. I originally put these rubber, I cut these rubber legs, they had little stubs on them. I cut them off and I put a screw through the center. And I screwed them into the leg right here, and they were holding real good. But then when I moved it one time, and this was too grippy, it gripped the surface it was sitting on, and it just peeled it right off the screw head. I said, well, back to the drawing board on that. So what I did was I looked around eBay, and I said, now what should I use? I'm going to have to abandon these holes here. There's just not enough surface. That's primarily what the problem was, plus the soft rubber grabbed whatever it was sitting on. I should have had something a little harder. I need legs that were harder, and I wanted them to be sturdy. So what I did was I went out on eBay, as I was saying, and I came up on these things right here. Man, look at the difference in size. I mean, we're going to put some beef in this baby. You know, when something doesn't work, don't be afraid to change your mind and go back and make it better, okay? It's no big deal. You know, this is much better. It has a metal washer inside. Even with a washer in here, it would not have worked. It was just too soft, see it? It's no good. Wasn't enough beef on the other side to, you know, the washer would have pulled right through it as well. So these are legs from your, you know, vintage or antique stereo receivers from the 70s. The Pioneers, the Sansuis, all that sort of thing. Hard as a rock. They're a little bit flexible, but they're hard. So that's what we're going to use. And I have abandoned these holes here. I repainted them so they don't look too gaudy, and re-drilled new holes here to put these legs in here. And one of them I have already done right here. So we're going to put all four of these in. I'm using lock washers and flat washers on top of this washer because I want some added beef there. And the screws I used were number 10s. They were 1-inch self-drilling or self-tapping, as they call them. I got them at Lowe's. These are the screws I used, and this is what they look like. They were just a little too long, though. They were hitting the edge of the chassis when I slid it in. At least in the rear. I haven't slid it all the way in with all four in there, but we're going to find out. And I may have to come back and redo it again, maybe. But I did cut the screws. I cut the screws down a little bit. Then I rounded the end and ran them with my grinder. I cut them off with my, you know, my cutting wheel on my rotary tool. And then I rounded them off. I couldn't find the size I really needed at Lowe's, so I got the little longer ones. Rounded them off, ran them across the wire brush, got nice and smooth and everything. And now they go right down in there with no problem. So I'll tell you what, let's set it up and I'll show you. Well, there it is. I've got the lock washer on first and then the flat washer. Now we stick that down through the hole in the center. Now the hole's a little bit larger than the screw, but I didn't want to have a screw so large I had to bore a hole in it big around as my finger, you know. So we'll go ahead now and we'll set that. That's all we need out of the other side. Go ahead and set it in the hole where I drilled it. And now, let's see if we can't get this baby to go down in there. Should go down nice and easy. You want them to go down straight. There you go. Nice and snug. Now I'll take a Phillips screwdriver I have before I, you know, finish it all up. I'll snug them down with the screwdriver. I don't want to do it with this because I might strip out. That's very thin metal. I might strip it out. So let me finish up the other two. Okay, they're all on and they're nice and solid, and I like them because they're a little bit more than semi-hard. They're not going to go anywhere. And I want you to know these Hillman, I don't know where they're made. I don't know if they're made in China. Yeah, made in China. I mean, of course. But anyway, these screws were really tough. Yeah, it took a while to cut through them with my cutting disc on that rotary drill. You know, it's amazing that this thing, yeah, I guess America can't make any screws anymore. Is that the problem? We just don't have the technology. We have to get them from China. The final check I have to make on this thing, now that I have the legs on, is to make sure that the screws that went up through the center are not touching anything inside the cabinet. You know, I double checked, triple checked, and quadruple checked just to make sure. Measured it with a screwdriver down, a thin screwdriver down, to make sure nothing is being hit. And I'm really 100% certain that nothing's being touched by those screws. However, that being said, for all the new guys out there, and and the old guys will agree with me, don't take anything for granted with these old radios. No. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on. We're going to watch our amp meter over here to make sure that we don't have any shorts. We're going to bring it up on the variac very slowly and see what happens. Let's go up to 60 volts. Okay, the lights are beginning to come on. Current is doing very well. The current, by the way, is on the it's on the 1 amp scale, the top scale, from 0 to 1 amp. We're doing okay. At 60 volts, let's go up to 80 volts. I'm going up to 80 volts over here on this gauge. I'm using this for those of you who maybe haven't tuned in before. The radio's right in the way right now, but that's my voltage that I watch, connected to my variac. Nothing shorted yet. Let's go up to 100 volts. Still looking good. Clock's still purring along. I think we may have had pay dirt on this one. Now let's go ahead and take it on up to 120. Right around 120. Just shoot the works. Go for your gusto. Pretty good. Alright, I'm happy. The lights are lit up very nicely. I've got everything hooked up. Let's see if we can tune in a station. That static you're hearing is the air conditioner. The central heat comes on, does that. There's central heat and air. That's the broadcast band. Pretty good, huh? The next thing I want to talk about is a little bit of an upgrade on the General Electric Wildcat record player that I recently restored. And I didn't mention it in the video, but I had ordered a new needle for it. And I got it from Gary Stork up in Voice of... let me show you his card. I want everybody to understand this about Gary Stork. There's his business card right there. I want everybody to take a look at that. Note the telephone number and everything. voiceofmusic.com. Thevoiceofmusic.com is his website. And he is the VM audio enthusiast, Gary Stork. I've been ordering from him for years. A little bit here, a little bit there, not a whole lot, but whenever I ordered from him, I always got perfect results. Perfect. And he, when you call him, he answers the phone personally, and he talks to you, and he walks you through your little problem, until he gets it resolved. And I bought cartridges from him, and now I bought needles, and now I had to buy another needle. And I said, Gary, I went to your website, and I think I've got the right needle. I want to change the needle on this thing. I said, I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right thing before I ordered it, so I need your help. He said, okay, what's the number on your cartridge? So you come up here. Now this thing actually will pull all the way up. It'll come loose back here. That's the way it's designed. See, you hear that? See? Comes up, bring it all the way up, and this cartridge, let me get the light down here. This is for you folks that don't know much about these things. On the button. Now these cartridges may have been changed. You never know. So that's why he needed the number on the cartridge. So right there at the bottom of the cartridge, mine says, I don't know if you're going to be able to read that or not. I'd like to zoom in on it so you know exactly what you're looking for. Now this is apparently an original cartridge, and the number on it is, come on, focus in, baby. Come on, I guess it's not going to work. Oh, there we go, 650. Okay, it's a 650. See that number right there? And I told him, I said, well, it's a 650. And I said, I think I need the 570, what was it? No, 510, and I want the DS77. He said, that's right, takes the 510. And now, what's the DS77? Well, you know, I could have put an original needle back in there that plays for the 16, the 33, the 45, and the 78. Well, you know, come on, this record player is going to a girl who's only 12 years old. She will never play a 78 RPM, and she will never play a 16 RPM record. So I told him, look, I don't need the 78, but the needle he sells comes with, you can get all four of these, you know, on one side. I mean, 78 on one side and the other three on the other, but I didn't want that. So I told him what I want is, the only one that he had was the 16, the 33, and the 45 on both sides of the needle. One side of the needle is a diamond, the other side is a sapphire or something like that. Maybe it says so in the package. Let me see. It usually tells you on the back. Let me see what it says. Synthetic sapphire, that's what it is. One half is a diamond, the other half is a synthetic sapphire. For 33 and 45 speeds. That's exactly what I want. So that's what she's going to get, and it's right there in that little package. He got it to me in just a matter of a couple days. I mean, you know, Gary's story, you cannot beat this guy. He is the guy that knows. If you go to someone else besides Gary for your record and your turntable stuff, you're missing the boat. Now, you're going to have people out there who argue with me, oh, well, I go to so-and-so and I go to... Let me tell you something. Gary hasn't been in business all these years. He's got a fantastic website, all kinds of stuff he sells, and he hasn't been successful for not knowing what he's doing, okay? And I like the fact that he answers the phone. I don't get some stupid recording. This is Gary, how you doing? I say, okay, this is John. Fix me right up, got me what I need. So this needle will play, actually, the way the website says it'll actually play 16, 33, and 45 on both sides, but when it came in, it said it would just play 33 and 45, which is fine. That's all I want. And I also picked up another bottle of, a nice fresh bottle of rubber cement that I'm going to be gluing this down with. I'm going to glue this down. We want to get it nice and flat. And I like rubber cement because you can take it off and it'll peel up with your thumb to get the old rubber cement off. Not like what was on there originally. Now the way it works is the back of the needle has a point on it. It's plastic, you know, a plastic thing. You just peel the back off of here like so, and your needle is sitting right here. And now you see how it's rounded to a point? I don't know if you can make that out or not. Let me get it down here on this white. I better put it down here where it'll be easier to see. This camera's not very good on white. See how it's to a point on one end, right there? That point slips in underneath this copper thing, up in that groove right there. And then the needle itself, the shaft of the needle, come on, focus in, baby. The shaft of the needle, right, this part here, not the needle, the shaft, goes up in this little slot that you see right there. It's a little cushion for it, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to take, and I will slip this thing underneath here, like this. I'll slip it underneath the copper, and then I'll let this shaft sit up in there like that. Then you can flip the needle back and forth whichever side you want. So let me go ahead and get it up in there. It's pointed for that reason, okay? They're pretty tough. They can take quite a bit. There we go. Weird. Kind of weird, ain't it? Come on, play. Oh, there it is. I guess I didn't damage the needle too bad.
She was just walking down the street singing. Tapping her fingers and shuffling her feet singing. She looked good. She looked fine.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and flip the needle around to the other side and see if it'll play. Let's see what this does. The diamond side was playing the first time.
There she she was, just walking
Okay.
down the street singing.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and bring this over. It's supposed to work. Let me go ahead and put the record up and see what happens. Alright, let's see if she's going to drop to 45 and play. Okay. What's going on here? It's not working. Not working. I guess I had the volume down. Okay. Well, that's pretty good now. I think she's good to go. And I'm going to tell my step great granddaughter. I'm going to tell her that if it won't quite reject, she's only going to be playing the large albums anyway. And I'll tell her mom, look, just tell her if it doesn't quite work to pull this baby back, and it'll probably do it. Well, that's it for the 2 updates. I hope you got something out of it. Until next time, this is John.